The first thing that hits you in Seoul isn't the skyline or the traffic. It's the rhythm, a heartbeat pulsing through every street corner, every sound, every face. The city hums with life 24 hours a day, but it's not chaotic. It's alive in a way that feels intentional, almost poetic. When you first step out of the subway at Gyeongbokgung or Hongdae, the air greets you with a blend of roasted chestnuts, coffee beans, and the faint aroma of grilled meat. A soft wind rolls down from the surrounding hills, brushing through the narrow streets lined with signs that glow in Hangul. Elegant, mysterious, and inviting. There's a strange harmony here, one that you don't find in many cities. The clash of the old and the new doesn't feel like a battle. It feels like a dance. A monk in gray robes passes silently in front of a skyscraper covered in LED screens. A young couple takes selfies with a centuries-old palace behind them, while a delivery robot rolls by on the sidewalk. Seoul doesn't try to hide its contrasts. It celebrates them, and that's what makes it so magnetic, the feeling that you're walking through history and the future at the same time. At night, the city turns electric. From the banks of the Han River to the neon-drenched alleys of Itaewon, Seoul glows like it never sleeps. The hum of conversations, the laughter spilling out of late-night food stalls, the rhythm of K-pop echoing from hidden bars, they blend into one continuous song. You can feel that song in your chest, especially when you stand on a bridge over the river and watch the city lights flicker like stars that decided to settle on Earth. And yet, amid all that energy, Seoul has its quiet moments. The early morning calm around Bukchon Hanok Village, where the rooftops curve like brushstrokes in a painting. The sound of a temple bell carried by the wind. The old man selling tteokbokki with the same smile he's probably worn for 40 years. Those moments are what make you realize that Seoul isn't just a place, it's a feeling. It's curiosity, nostalgia, and excitement, all tangled together in one endless story. For travelers, Seoul doesn't ask you to rush. It asks you to listen, to the footsteps of millions who've walked these streets before you, and to the voices of those shaping its future. Whether you come here to explore its palaces, chase its nightlife, or taste its street food, you'll find that the real magic lies somewhere between all of it, in that invisible space where past and present hold hands. Seoul rests quietly in the heart of the Korean peninsula, embraced by mountains and divided by the Han River, a silver ribbon gliding through the city's core. From above, it looks almost like a living organism, with roads and railways stretching out like veins carrying the lifeblood of 15 million souls. It's a city that never truly pauses, yet it breathes with a balance few megacities manage to keep. This balance, between movement and stillness, technology and tradition, is what gives Seoul its unmistakable rhythm. Geographically, Seoul sits just about 30 miles south of the demilitarized zone, the fragile border separating North and South Korea. Yet here, life thrives in a way that defies its proximity to tension. It's not fear that defines the city, but resilience. In just a few decades, Seoul transformed itself from the ashes of war into one of Asia's most vibrant capitals, a symbol of innovation and cultural power. Skyscrapers gleam beside historic gates. High-speed trains hum beneath streets where merchants have sold handmade crafts for generations. The contrast is stunning, but it's seamless. A city that manages to honor its past while running boldly toward the future. Beyond being the capital, Seoul is the heartbeat of South Korea, politically, economically, and culturally. It's where decisions shape the nation's path, where ideas in design and technology ripple out to the rest of the world. Brands born here, Samsung, Hongdae, LG, represent the city's industrial prowess. But Seoul's true energy doesn't just come from its corporations or its infrastructure. It comes from its people, their discipline, their creativity, and their deep respect for progress grounded in heritage. Walk through Gyeongbokgung, and you'll see a vision of modern ambition. Cross to Insadong, and you'll step back centuries into wooden tea houses and calligraphy shops. Both are Seoul. Both belong to the same heartbeat. For travelers, Seoul is more than a destination. It's a living, breathing introduction to South Korea itself. Every alley, every face, every bridge over the Han tells a piece of a story that stretches across the peninsula. One of survival, reinvention, and pride. To stand in Seoul is to stand where Korea dreams, works, and evolves. all at once. Long before the towers of glass and steel touched the clouds, Seoul began as a quiet settlement along the Han River, a village of farmers, scholars, and merchants who built their homes beneath the guardian mountains of Bukchon and Namsan. The city's roots stretch back more than 2,000 years, to a time when the Korean peninsula was divided into ancient kingdoms. But Seoul, then called Seoul, found its true identity during the Joseon dynasty in the late 14th century, when King Taejo chose it as his capital. He named it Hanyang, meaning a place embraced by the river, believing its location balanced the energies of heaven and earth, a perfect harmony between nature and civilization. Under Joseon's rule, Hanyang blossomed into the political and cultural heart of the nation. The royal palaces, Gyeongbokgung, Cheongdeokgung, and Deoksagung, rose from the earth like symbols of order and grace. Scholars of Confucianism filled the streets, debating ethics and governance under paper lanterns. Markets bustled with silk, pottery, and laughter. The sounds of drums and gongs echoed from temples across the valleys, carrying prayers for prosperity. Every brick and beam in the city whispered the philosophy that would shape Korea for centuries, that harmony, respect, and perseverance were the pillars of a just life. But history, as always, brought its storms. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Seoul, then known as Gyeongseong under Japanese occupation, endured hardship and loss. The palaces were damaged, the language suppressed, and the city's spirit tested. Yet Seoul refused to break. When liberation came in 1945, its people poured into the streets, waving flags and weeping, reclaiming their identity. That triumph was short-lived. The Korean War soon followed, leaving Seoul in ruins. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to ash, bridges destroyed, families divided. Still, the city rebuilt, not just physically, but spiritually. From those ashes rose a determination unmatched anywhere in the world. By the 1960s and 70s, Seoul had become the symbol of South Korea's miracle on the Han River, a transformation from poverty to prosperity that astonished the globe. Skyscrapers began to climb, subways burrowed beneath the earth, and neon lights painted the skyline. Yet even as the world rushed in, Seoul held on to its roots. Today, you can still walk through the ancient gates that once guarded kings and then, just a few blocks away, step into the ultra-modern buzz of Myeongdong or Gangnam. The city wears its history not as a burden, but as a badge, proof that it has fallen, risen, and reinvented itself, time and time again. To stand in Seoul is to stand in a story of endurance. A story of a people who turned loss into strength and history into hope. The past isn't forgotten here. It's alive, written into the stones of Gyeongbokgung, reflected in the gentle flow of the Han River, and carried in the hearts of every Seoulite who looks toward the future with gratitude for the journey that brought them here. Life in Seoul moves with a rhythm that feels almost musical, fast, bright, and full of energy, yet softened by quiet moments that linger like the echo of a traditional drum. The people here are known for their drive. They move with purpose, always striving, always improving. But beneath that ambition lies something gentler, a deep sense of connection to family, community, and tradition. It's a city where the past isn't just remembered, it's lived every day, woven seamlessly into the rush of modern life. Walk through the narrow streets of Bukchon Hanok Village, and you can still hear the whispers of the Joseon dynasty. Wooden houses with curved tiled roofs cradle courtyards filled with potted plants and paper windows glowing in the afternoon light. Just a few miles away, in Gangnam, the streets flash with neon signs, luxury boutiques, and the beat of electronic music. Yet somehow, these two worlds coexist effortlessly. It's as if Seoul carries two heartbeats, one ancient, one electric, and both pulse in perfect harmony. The people of Seoul are a reflection of this duality. By day, they are professionals dressed in tailored suits, tapping through subway stations with precision and grace. By night, they gather around street food stalls, laughing over soju and spicy tteokbokki, letting the pressures of the day melt away. They are polite but passionate, disciplined yet expressive. In one breath, they bow respectfully to elders. In the next, they sing their hearts out in a karaoke room. It's this balance between respect and release That makes Seoul's spirit so captivating. Tradition runs deep here. Confucian values shape how people interact. Humility, respect for elders, harmony above conflict. But there's also a modern identity that celebrates individuality and creativity. Young artists in Hongdae fill the air with indie music and graffiti murals. Designers in Itaewon blend Korean minimalism with global trends. College students in cafes write dreams into laptops, while grandmothers sell handmade rice cakes nearby. The generations share the same streets, the same skyline, and somehow, they fit together like the pieces of a hanbok, distinct, colorful, yet beautifully unified. The rhythm of daily life in Seoul has its own poetry. Morning commuters move in silence through spotless subway stations. Office workers share convenience store lunches with colleagues, exchanging small smiles before the next meeting. Couples stroll along the Gyeongbokgung stream after sunset, hands intertwined as the water sparkles beneath city lights. And somewhere in the distance, temple bells ring, a reminder that even in a city defined by motion, there is always space for stillness. Seoul's culture is not one you simply observe, it's one you feel. It's in the kindness of a cafe owner who adds extra honey to your tea, the efficiency of a barista who crafts a latte like art, the soft greetings exchanged between strangers. The city's charm lies not just in its architecture or technology, but in its humanity, the warmth that thrives beneath the surface of its dazzling speed. In Seoul, life is a balance of effort and ease, of modern dreams and ancient grace. And that balance is what makes this city not just a place to visit, but a place to feel alive. If there's one thing that can tell you who Seoul really is, it's the food. You don't just eat in this city, you experience it. Every bite feels like a conversation between generations, a dialogue between tradition and innovation. The streets themselves seem to speak through the sizzling of grills, the bubbling of broth, and the laughter of people sharing a meal. In Seoul, food isn't just sustenance. It's community, identity, and celebration, the warm heartbeat of everyday life. Morning begins with the aroma of hotteok, sweet pancakes filled with brown sugar and nuts, sold from carts that line the sidewalks. Office workers grab kimbap, rice rolls wrapped in seaweed, before rushing onto the subway. But the real magic happens when the sun sets. That's when the city transforms into a giant open-air kitchen. Street stalls, or pojangmaka, light up alleyways with the smell of grilled skewers, fried dumplings, and spicy rice cakes bubbling in deep red sauce. The air thickens with the comforting scent of sesame oil and chili paste, and even if you weren't hungry, you soon will be. For many, the first taste of Seoul is Korean barbecue. The ritual is as satisfying as the food itself. Thin slices of marinated beef sizzling on the grill, the sound of tongs clinking, the laughter between friends as the table fills with side dishes known as banchan. Lettuce wraps stuffed with rice, garlic, and samjang sauce create a perfect bite, one that's smoky, spicy, and undeniably addictive. Whether you're in a high-end restaurant in Gangnam or a humble joint under a flickering neon sign in Mapo, the feeling is the same. Everyone gathered around the grill becomes family, even if only for a night. But Seoul's culinary scene isn't limited to tradition. It's a playground of flavors. In trendy neighborhoods like Hongdae or Itaewon, chefs mix Korean roots with global influences. Think kimchi tacos, bulgogi burgers, or croffles drizzled with matcha syrup. Cafes are a world of their own here, serene, meticulously designed, and each with its own personality. You might sip a honey latte in a minimalist cafe where time seems to slow down, or indulge in a mountain of bingsu, shaved ice covered with red beans and fruit that's almost too pretty to eat. And then there are the markets, where Seoul's heart beats loudest. Gyeongbokgung Market, one of the oldest in the city, is a paradise of flavors. Crispy mung bean pancakes sizzling on wide iron pans, steaming bowls of knife-cut noodles, and adventurous bites of live octopus that dance on the plate. Vendors call out with a mix of pride and warmth, inviting you to taste, to explore, to connect. You can sit on a simple stool, share a meal with strangers, and somehow feel like you belong. What makes Seoul's food so special isn't just how it tastes, but how it makes you feel. Meals are meant to be shared, never rushed, never lonely. They tell stories of survival, creativity, and love passed down through generations. And the best part? You don't need a fancy restaurant to find it. A few coins and an open heart are all you need to taste Seoul, one bite at a time. Seoul is a city built on contrasts, and nowhere is that more visible than in its landscapes. One moment, you're standing before a royal palace built centuries ago. The next, you're gazing up at a futuristic skyline of steel and glass. The old and the new don't compete here. They coexist, as if history itself decided to stay and watch the future unfold. If you begin your journey in the heart of Seoul, start where time itself seems to pause, Gyeongbokgung Palace. Once home to kings and queens of the Joseon dynasty, it remains a masterpiece of symmetry and serenity. As you walk past its grand gates, guards in colorful robes stand tall, their faces calm yet fierce, as if protecting the city's memory. Inside, the sound of your footsteps echoes through wide courtyards framed by wooden pillars painted in vivid red and green. Beyond the palace walls, you catch glimpses of modern buildings, a gentle reminder that Seoul's story never stopped being written. Just a short walk away lies Bukchon Hanok Village, a living museum of traditional Korean houses, or hanok. Here, narrow alleys weave between wooden homes with tiled roofs that curve like brushstrokes in an ancient painting. Locals hang paper lanterns at their doors, and the smell of herbal tea drifts from open windows. The best way to explore Bukchon is slowly, without a map, without a plan, letting the city reveal itself through quiet turns and hidden courtyards. From there, head toward Itaewon, a cultural artery that flows with art, calligraphy, and handmade crafts. Street musicians play soft tunes while shopkeepers sell everything from antique fans to delicate ceramics. This is where you'll find the soul of Seoul, not in its skyscrapers, but in the hands of those who still craft beauty the old way. But Seoul also loves to surprise. Ride the cable car or hike up to Seoul Tower atop Namsan Mountain just before sunset. As the sky deepens into shades of pink and gold, the city begins to glow beneath you, endless lights shimmering like constellations. Couples attach locks of love to the fences, whispering promises that will join thousands of others swaying in the evening breeze. The view here doesn't just show you Seoul, it makes you feel part of its story. Of course, no journey through Seoul is complete without walking along the Cheonggyecheon Stream, a restored waterway that winds gently through downtown. Office workers stroll here after hours, families feed pigeons, and travelers pause to rest their feet in the cool running water. It's a peaceful escape right in the middle of the rush, a perfect symbol of how Seoul finds calm within chaos. And then, venture beyond the tourist paths to discover the city's hidden gems. In Yeoljiro, an old industrial district now reborn with creativity, you'll find craft breweries tucked between printing workshops and neon-lit cafes hidden behind metal doors. The walls are covered in graffiti, the air thick with sawdust and jazz, a mix of grit and soul that feels distinctly, authentically Seoul. Or slip into Itaewon Mural Village, where stairways bloom with painted flowers and cartoon faces smile from the walls. Once a forgotten hillside neighborhood, it has transformed into an open-air gallery of hope and color, created by local artists and residents. Each corner of Seoul offers a different rhythm, the royal and the rebellious, the polished and the raw. Together, they form a mosaic that's impossible not to fall in love with. Whether you're chasing the glow of the Han River bridges or the hush of a hidden temple, you'll find that Seoul's beauty isn't just in the landmarks themselves, but in how they make you feel, alive, curious, and somehow at home. Traveling through Seoul is like reading a story that changes with every season. The city never looks the same twice. It transforms with the weather, with the festivals, with the mood of its people. Knowing when and how to explore it can make the difference between simply visiting Seoul and truly feeling it. If you come in spring, usually from late March to early April, you'll find the city wrapped in pink. Cherry blossoms bloom along the Han River, and petals drift like confetti through parks and palace courtyards. Locals picnic under the trees, sharing fried chicken, beer, and laughter while music fills the air. Autumn, from late September to November, paints the city gold and crimson. The air turns crisp, the light softens, and the mountains surrounding Seoul, Bukhansan, Namsan, and Wangsan, look like watercolor landscapes. For photographers and dreamers alike, this is the most poetic time to visit. Summer, on the other hand, is hot and humid, but full of life. Street festivals, rooftop bars, and late-night river picnics make up for the heat. Meanwhile, winter transforms Seoul into a scene straight out of a snow globe. Markets steam with hot soups. The air smells of roasted sweet potatoes, and palaces shimmer beneath blankets of snow. Each season gives you a different Seoul, one that feels alive in its own way. Getting around the city is refreshingly easy. The subway system is one of the cleanest and most efficient in the world, color-coded, punctual, and bilingual. Just buy a T-Money card, and you can hop on subways, buses, or even taxis without fumbling for change. Google Maps works here, but locals swear by Naver Map or Kako Map for accuracy. If you prefer to move at your own pace, Seoul's bike-sharing system, Seoul Bike Durungi, lets you glide through riverside paths and neighborhoods for just a few thousand won an hour. In terms of budget, Seoul is surprisingly flexible. You can dine like royalty for a few dollars at street markets, or enjoy Michelin-starred tasting menus that rival any in the world. A comfortable daily budget, including meals, transportation, and a mid-range guest house, hovers around 100,000 to 120,000 KRW, roughly 75 to 90 USD. Staying in Myeongdong gives you easy access to shopping and nightlife, while Hongdae is ideal for young travelers who crave art, music, and energy. If you prefer something quieter, Gyeongbokgung blends vintage charm with modern comfort, narrow alleys, hidden cafes, and Hanok-style ghost houses that feel like home. There are, of course, little secrets that make your trip smoother. Many palaces, like Gyeongbokgung, are closed on Tuesdays, so plan accordingly. Restaurants often serve side dishes for free, and it's polite not to waste them. When dining with locals, wait for the eldest person to lift their chopsticks first, a gesture of respect that's deeply valued here. Tap water is safe to drink, but locals love carrying reusable bottles, as the city offers plenty of refill stations. And if you ever get lost, don't worry, Seoulites are incredibly kind. Even if their English isn't perfect, they'll go out of their way to help you find your direction. The best advice, though, is to slow down. Seoul rewards curiosity. Take that extra turn down an unfamiliar alley. Step into a tiny cafe that only locals know. Sit by the Han River at night with a convenience store snack and just watch the city breathe. Traveling here isn't about checking off landmarks. It's about absorbing the rhythm of life, the sounds of footsteps, the hum of traffic, the laughter that spills into the air. Because once you stop trying to see everything, Seoul reveals itself. And that's when you realize that this isn't just a city to explore, it's a city to feel. When the sun dips behind the mountains and the last rays fade across the Han River, Seoul begins its second act. The city that hustles all day exhales, and in that breath, it glows. Streetlights flicker to life, neon signs pulse like heartbeats, and music starts to rise from every direction. Seoul After Dark isn't just a place, it's an experience, one that unfolds in layers of sound, light, and emotion. The night often starts by the Han River, where couples, families, and groups of friends gather on picnic mats under the bridges. Food delivery bikes zip past. Yes, they deliver fried chicken and beer right to your spot by the water. The glow from skyscrapers dances on the river's surface, and the city's reflections ripple like poetry. From Bampo Bridge, fountains shoot colored arcs of water into the night air, swaying to soft music. It's cinematic, romantic, and completely alive. Further into the city, Hongdae becomes a festival of energy. Street performers draw crowds with guitar solos, dance battles, and laughter that fills the night. The air buzzes with creativity, graffiti walls, thrift shops, indie bars, all blending into a youthful heartbeat that doesn't slow down until dawn. Just a few subway stops away, Itaewon offers something different, a global rhythm. Here, languages mix as easily as the cocktails being poured. Locals and travelers share tables, stories, and songs. It's chaotic, vibrant, and unforgettable. The kind of night where you forget what time it is because it doesn't seem to matter. But Seoul at night isn't only about noise and color. There's peace too, quiet corners where the city whispers instead of sings. Walk through Cheonggyecheon Stream at 11 p.m., and you'll hear nothing but the water's murmur and the distant hum of cars. Streetlights reflect like fireflies, couples stroll hand in hand, and the world seems to slow down. In Bukchon Hanok Village, the lanterns cast golden light over empty alleys, and the wind rustles through bamboo fences. Even the temples, like Jogyesa, softly illuminated, seem to breathe with calm dignity, offering sanctuary to those who seek stillness amidst the city's pulse. And then there's Seoul Tower, the crown of the city. At night, it becomes a beacon. Take the cable car up Namsan, and you'll see Seoul stretch endlessly in every direction, a galaxy of lights that feels almost alive. Lovers attach locks to the fences, each one a promise, a fragment of a story left behind. From that height, the city doesn't feel rushed. It feels timeless. You can almost hear it whisper, "You've seen me busy, but this is when I dream." Seoul's nights are about connection, with others, with the city, with yourself. Whether you're sipping makgeolli in a tiny bar that seats only 6 people or watching the lights shimmer over the river, the night holds something personal for everyone. It's where strangers become friends, where stories begin, and where memories linger long after the dawn. When the first train rumbles awake and the neon signs fade with the morning light, you realize something beautiful. The Seoul you saw at night isn't separate from the day. It's the same city, just showing you its softer, more soulful side. And once you've felt that glow, it never really leaves you. Seoul loves to surprise you. Just when you think you've understood its rhythm, it smiles and shows you another side, playful, strange, and sometimes beautifully absurd. Beneath its polished modernity and deep traditions, the city has quirks that make it irresistibly human. Take Gangnam Style, for instance. What began as a cheeky pop song in 2012 became a global phenomenon, and Seoul didn't just laugh along, it immortalized it. In the heart of Gangnam stands a bronze statue of Psy's now famous crossed-arm dance pose. Locals and tourists alike mimic it for photos, laughter echoing across the square. It's a reminder that Seoul doesn't take itself too seriously, even in the district that symbolizes luxury and ambition. Then there's one of the city's most peculiar annual events, the Space Out competition. Hundreds of people gather in a park, sit in silence, and compete to see who can do nothing the longest without falling asleep. No phones, no talking, no movement, just breathing and existing. It's both ironic and brilliant, a gentle protest against the city's relentless pace. In Seoul, even doing nothing has meaning. But not all of Seoul's secrets are loud or funny. Some are quietly touching. Did you know that beneath the bustling streets of Gyeongbokgung, an ancient stream still flows, preserved within glass walls for visitors to glimpse? Or that the intricate patterns on the palace roofs were designed not only for beauty, but to guide rainwater so gently it wouldn't disturb meditation? These small details reflect the Seoul mindset. Every design, every tradition, has purpose and thoughtfulness behind it. Another endearing quirk? Seoulites' love for matching outfits, known as couple looks. You'll often see pairs walking hand in hand in identical shirts, jackets, or sneakers. To outsiders it might seem amusing, but to locals, it's a sweet symbol of harmony. 2 lives moving in sync, just like the city itself. And perhaps one of the most heartwarming facts, Seoul is home to over 3,000 free Wi-Fi zones, meaning you can stay connected almost anywhere, even on top of mountains. In a way, it perfectly sums up the city's spirit, endlessly connected, but always striving to make those connections feel human. Seoul's quirks aren't just fun trivia, they're reflections of its soul, a city unafraid to mix humor with heart, progress with playfulness. Beneath the surface of its gleaming skyline lies a personality that's witty, kind, and wonderfully unpredictable. It's what makes you smile when you remember Seoul, not just for its grandeur, but for its warmth, its whimsy, and its beautiful, restless spirit. Seoul is not a city you simply visit. It's a city that stays with you, long after your flight departs, long after the sounds of its streets fade into memory. It lingers like a melody you can't forget, like the glow of lanterns reflected on water, like the warmth of a stranger's smile in the middle of a crowd. To experience Seoul is to touch a living rhythm, one that hums between the old and the new, the loud and the quiet, the ordinary and the extraordinary. Maybe it's the way the morning light falls over the curved roofs of Gyeongbokgung, or how the scent of coffee drifts from a hidden cafe in Itaewon. Maybe it's the hum of a late-night taxi ride through neon streets, or the hush of temple bells echoing above the city. Whatever it is, Seoul has a way of making you feel both energized and grounded, like you're part of something vast, yet deeply personal. Every street, every sound, every meal seems to whisper the same truth, that life, in all its chaos and beauty, is meant to be felt fully. When you leave, you carry Seoul with you. You carry the taste of spicy kimchi stew that warmed you on a cold night, the sound of laughter on the Han River breeze, the sight of endless lights spreading across the horizon. You carry the resilience of its people, their warmth, their creativity, their grace. You realize that Seoul is more than skyscrapers or palaces. It's a feeling, a rhythm, a memory that keeps beating inside you. So when you think back to this city, the one that never really sleeps, that breathes with music and motion, remember it not as a destination, but as a story you've become part of. A story that invites you to return, to listen, to feel again. Because Seoul isn't finished revealing itself. It's always changing, always dreaming, always alive. And if this journey through Seoul has stirred something in you, a spark of curiosity, a longing to see the world through new eyes, then join us again. Subscribe, follow the path, and travel with us to the next city waiting on the horizon. Because the world is full of stories like this, and every city, like Seoul, has a soul waiting to be discovered.